Hi everybody, this is Steve Hoggard, the pastor of Hickory Hill Baptist Church. Today it's Wednesday, we're doing Wednesday in the Word, and it is January the 27th. We're looking at Matthew chapter 5, verses 33 through 37. Now we are continuing through the Sermon on the Mount, so everything we look at is basically, it's in red in your Bible, so that means it's important. It's Jesus saying this. So let's look at verse 33. He says, "Again, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, 'Do not break your oath, but keep your oaths you have made to the Lord.'" Now this teaching Jesus brings up is found in the Old Testament. And I know it's found at least 3 times in the Old Testament that I have found, and probably maybe a little more. But here's one of the examples in Numbers chapter 30, verse 2. It says, "When a man makes a vow to the Lord, or takes an oath to obligate himself by a pledge, he must not break his word, must do everything he said." What Jesus says is, you've heard what Moses said a long time ago, and you heard what you've been taught in church or in school, especially that you make oaths to the Lord or promises to the Lord, that you need to keep them. So if a person makes an oath or makes a promise that is not based upon the Lord, then it's okay maybe not to fulfill it. All right, let's continue on verse 34. "But I tell you, do not swear at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make even one hair white or black." I just want to make a hair. But anyway, Jesus tells us that 3-letter word, but. In other words, he changes direction. So you've heard this before, but now I want to tell you something new or something. And basically Jesus says, do not swear. Do not make promises. But they would, as we do many times today. We make promises to illustrate that we'll fulfill our promise or our oath. We'll swear by something bigger to illustrate that we're serious about keeping our word. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 16 says this, "Men swear by someone greater than themselves, and an oath confirms what he has said and puts an end to all argument." And that's kind of the case here. Growing up, we would swear on things. When I was a kid, we would, we'd cross our heart, and I swear, but I had my fingers crossed, so it didn't count. Or, if it was really serious, we'd swear by our mother's grave. Maybe you remember that. And that means we're really serious. But we could have our fingers crossed, or I made a loophole sometimes that my mother didn't have a grave. She was still alive. So therefore, the promise did not take. But anyway, I remember when a handshake was binding, you didn't have to have something in writing or something in contract. Now you have to have something in contract. In fact, even having something in contract is not enough if you find the right lawyer. All right, but swearing by God's throne, or swearing by the earth, or swearing by the hair on your head, because you can't even make a hair white or black, or you can't even grow hair. So anyway, in verse 37, Jesus says, "Simply let your yes be yes, and your no be no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one." So Jesus breaks this down even further and says, guys, let your yes be yes and your no be no, and just leave it there. Don't swear by anything. Don't say, "I promise." Just yes or no. Now here's the story. I want to kind of apply this. Several years ago, I was preaching through the Sermon on the Mount, and I was in Georgia at that time, pastoring a church in Georgia. And I remember we were in the fall, and my anniversary came up, which was in December. And it was our 10th year anniversary, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do something just out of the park. And so I called a bed and breakfast up out in the mountains, kind of like a cabin. It snowed. I mean, everything was great. I reserved it, and had everything going just right. And so as I was preaching through this passage and I was telling my church, let your yes be yes, your no be no, I was booking this bed and breakfast. And as I was booking this bed and breakfast, I already booked them. I called them up and said, hey, I need to reserve a room for this night. And I got the best room they had. I mean, I was going all out, guys, 10th year anniversary. As I was going all out, I realized as I was researching, I already made the appointment. I already told them that I was a pastor of this church and told them that this is our wedding anniversary, and they said, we'll take care of you. Well, anyway, as I was researching this online, as I looked at their webpage, I read something, a real small line. It said, for alternative lifestyle. And I realized this was not a bed and breakfast that I thought it was a bed and breakfast. And so I started thinking about it. I actually started praying. I said, what do I do? I mean, I'm going to a place that are owned by two guys. And this is not my kind of lifestyle. But then I realized, I gave them my word. I said, yeah, I'm going to be there. And I let my yes be yes, my no be no. And I went. Me and my wife went there. I wouldn't say it was the greatest anniversary. It was a little awkward. But I got to share the gospel with them. I don't think they ever accepted Christ. But I got to share. And I got to keep my word in front of them. And why I share this, because what if I shared that I was a pastor of a church, and then I called up and said, you know what? I don't support your lifestyle. I'm not going to do that. And that would ruin my credibility. And I think that's the point. Here's the point I want you to get. Many times we have a credibility gap. And what I mean is if I'm a person of integrity, then my yes will be yes and my no will be no. Then people will believe what I say when I say something. Remember that story growing up when you were a kid you heard of the boy who cried wolf? If you remember the story, basically, this young man, he was guarding the sheep, and I think this is how the story goes. He was guarding the sheep, and he pretended the wolf comes and woof, 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 and all the town came out to help him out. Well, he'd done this like 3 times, or 2 or 3 times. And every time the town got mad at him, he said, you don't need to call wolf unless there's a wolf. Well, he just thought it was funny as all get out. The whole town comes rushing. And he did it and then when the wolf finally comes, he cries wolf, 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 and no one came out because they didn't believe him anymore. They got tired of him not keeping his word or tired of his fooling around. See, if I'm not credible, then how in the world are people going to believe me? If my yes is not yes and my no is not no, then how are they going to believe me? And how are they going to believe me when I talk about Jesus Christ? Guys, do not swear, but keep your word. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. You'll be credible and people will listen to you. Hey, that's really all I have today. Hope you learned something. I hope your yes will be yes and your no will be no. Hope you got encouraged. Also want to remind you, this Sunday, January 31st, we're starting back Sunday school. So Sunday school will be at 9:30, and then worship will be at 10:30 in our gym. Hope to see you there. Hey, God bless. Hope you have a great week.